Welcome back. Yes, we're focusing on the telecoms sector. Lots of you had before today written and tweeted copiously also, pointing out one or two challenges, but we'll ask you to continue. Bring those questions on because we'll get the authorities to respond to your questions and tell you exactly what they're doing about your situation. Well, now we're joined by Mr. Benjamin Shamola, who is a consultant systems engineer. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, in addition to some of the matters that lots of Nigerians have raised, some of them think that nothing is being done, while another school of thought is that maybe not sufficiently done because they don't expect authorities are sitting back and folding their arms and just watching these things go on. But you, on a regular basis, make use of some of these facilities. Do you see any improvement from, at least, when you used to complain, say, weeks, months ago to today?
If you say improvement, I will want to say yes and no. Let me give an analogy. If you have a transportation problem getting from point A to B, so you are now given options, several options, maybe from the Okada to the Keke Napep to a number of other automobiles to move with. But at the point of boarding these automobiles, you discover that one has a flat tire, the other is having a braking problem. Fine, you've already have a means of transportation, but will you get to your destination on time because of the inherent clutches here and there? And that seems to be the state of telecoms sector for now. Fine, we've come a long way from the days of the North 9 North, from the days of the NITEL, the MTEL, and all of that. We have several other players now in the sector. But in terms of service delivery, I want to speak from both a knowledgeable part and a regular Nigerian. Quality of service. If you say quality of service, because I think from the licenses issued to these firms, they are supposed to provide services ranging from the voice, the data, and a number of other services. But recently, of course, there have been so many talks here and there about the cost of making some of these calls we are making. And from a personal perspective, I want to say that we've had so much offers for so little service. And to worsen the whole situation is a customer service relationship with these telecom providers. Because I took my time, like I know, for example, now, when I was just flipping through certain documents recently, reading through, I learned we are now about 105.2 subscribers on the GSM network alone in Nigeria. And I asked myself, if we are looking at a country of about 160 thereabout millions in population, and we have 105.2, and we still claim that we still have, in terms of percentage, about 6% of Nigeria on the internet, for example, or using data services, for example, then that tends to conflict in a way. But I was able to get the answer right away because I know an average Nigerian does not carry a single SIM, a single network. For example, in every home, you have the father carrying about 3 networks because of all of these quality of services we're talking about. You have the mother carrying about 2. You have the children. Then you also have the modem, the dongles. Then if you have the tablets, you are talking of the data. I believe all of this summed up is the active line that we have in the newspapers and in some of these other blogs as the 105.2 active lines in Nigeria. But if you talk of service, for example, this program is providing a service, informing people about something. But if at the point you are trying to showcase what we have in channel now on the airwave, then there is interference. We can't hear you or we can't see you. Fine, to you, you are providing a service, but is it actually getting to the users? Because that seems to be what we have now. I've had a number of, yesterday I just tweeted on my handle and I just said, guys, if you guys have comments about the services we have so far, pro or cons, let me just have a view. And I tell you, up until this moment, everybody's like shouting, we pay so much to get so little. If you look at the voice, for example, I think the CDMA is almost gone into extinction. I personally have about 2 of the operators, and during the week I just discovered that I just lost signals, and you wouldn't get to know what really went wrong. So let's assume that that is just the only line I have, then that means I'll become inaccessible.
But is it possible that these operators render the kind of service that are required seeing that they appear to be bearing quite a lot of burden in terms of charges from left, right, back, and center.
Fine. You before you venture into any form of business, you do a survey. You have like the business plan. This provider, before coming to Nigeria, they already know the terrain. The mighty big names, they already know the terrain. And I tell you, if you want to look at it this or that way, fine, we know they have a number of charges to pay. They have licensing, they have tax, they have a number of them. But also look at it with what they're also earning. For now, it's difficult to say in black and white what the total profit of any of these companies are. And that simply is because we still have so many things still shaded in mystery. Or don't let me use mystery, let me say shaded in some form of magical imagination. Because for me, I believe if you leave the shore of Nigeria, for example, pick up any SIM in Ghana, you place a call. Look at the quality of call. I don't know, you guys are into mass communication, and I know you know what echo means, you know what reverberation means. If you look at the quality of calls, even when you are lucky enough to get through to the other end, look at the quality of what you pick on. You know, some of us are forced to move from the regular phone to the smartphone because you expect that you should have better signal, better quality of call, but you still discover that some of these things are still almost zero. All because I feel the regulatory authority trying their best, but the best seems not to be enough.
But you see, you used, you cited an example of Ghana.
Okay.
Would you say the regulatory environment in Ghana and what we have in Nigeria, is it the same?
I don't really have so much information about the regulatory body over there, but I'm talking about service delivery.
Okay.
Okay,
let's look at it this way. Do you think if, instead of running the promos, because almost all of them have the promos running, if they stop the promos and take that money that they use for the promos and put it into service, do you think it will make a difference?
I see our provider running a rat race. They're being highly competitive and they tend to chew more than they can bite. I remember somebody tweeting me or bite more than they can chew, thank you. And I remember somebody tweeting me yesterday saying, come Ben, it's like these guys are out to just make jumbo promo. And I sat with a colleague and we did a graphic analogy. When we were making calls at say 50 kobo, 40 kobo a second, you were lucky enough then to have a drop at about 50 seconds into your call. If I thought you're going to have a drop, maybe because of signal, because of a number of inherent issues, but that would be about the close of a minute of your call. And most of us wouldn't want to make longer calls, except for those that have to make longer calls. But we observed lately that if you're making on-net, I'm talking of empirical clue, things that we tested. If I'm making on-net call on any of these providers, as that if you make the first call, I'm making on-net, when you say on-net, on the same network. Now, if I make the first call, we observe that within the next 10 seconds and 12, there will be a drop. Thereafter, if you connect back to that same line, the line will now get through for maybe the next minute or two or thereabouts. We observe that. If you make the off-net call, you are going to have a drop just at about 25, 32 seconds because we tried severally. And the implication of this is this. If I was paying 12 naira, that's 20 kobo a second for a call, before the 40 kobo a second before the promo, then I'm able to make the call. If I'm going to have a drop of some sort and it's occurring at about 50 seconds, that means I will have almost made all my conversation within that time frame. So I'll be paying for actually what I'm calling. But look at this situation where if I want to tell Maokwe, for example, I say, Maokwe, how are you today? I want to, and there's a drop. And I'm going to put the call back to Maokwe. I wouldn't start from, I want you to get me this. I will go back again and say, oh, sorry, I was trying to... The implication then is that you now spend more time making the same call you have just made at a stretch. I'm paying twice. So if you say a jumbo promo, it's really not a promo because you're not even paying twice. That's almost equal to what you would have paid without this 20 kobo a second everybody's competing with.
All right. We'll take a moment, take a break. We'll be back and take a look at some of these matters. Try this again. Welcome back. We're still focusing on the telecom sector, and Benjamin Shamala, consultant systems engineer, here, giving us his perspective of the kinds of challenges it faces with not just quality of service, but maybe when the commission comes in, we'll look at some other matters. But when that was noticed, because it's one thing to notice these matters, it's another thing to follow the process through which you can get them rectified, because they expect you first to call the network in question, lodge your complaint. If nothing is done, we could get across to subscribers union. If nothing is done, you could go to the regulatory bodies, and they expect that you'll be sure to get some answers.
However, there was a time we had the consumer parliament where the NCC, the operators, the user, everybody will just come, you keep raising issues and all that. And I don't think I'm too young also to remember the time when, if you find cockroach, for example, in a particular drink, soft drink, and if you dare approach their gate, right from the gate, they will take you in as a king, pleading, begging, and nobody wants to go through the legal process. But today we realize that the telecom sector is a secret environment, where if you even make your complaints, okay, let me give you an example. If you have a call drop, for example, you want to even place a call to a customer care of the provider, I doubt if you will get through. I've had a situation where I was calling a customer care for a data service, and I held my phone on speakerphone for about 23 minutes without response. Fine, we could say that they are busy, but is that service delivery? I needed a solution right on time, not free though, I'm paying for it. But you still have to hold me down. You still, the power in my battery I managed to have will still go up because I'm even trying to call the customer care. And I feel, for me, it's not much of a problem or a solution residing with the provider. I think it's the regulatory body, the body. Because in life, we are made to break laws, we are made to be, because a friend of mine will always say laws are made to be broken. And I feel if these operators are not actually brought to book, we keep reading the dailies, this operator will be sanctioned. Are they paying those fines?
Well, we understand that the last one they paid.
They paid, good. If they're paying those fines, are they actually getting back to the subscriber and giving us back what we are losing? Because I remember there was a time we were all given, was it 101 naira, 107 naira, sometimes last year or something. But are we getting what we are losing? Let me even leave the voice call. I know every negotiation.
I was just going to ask you. I was very interested in the empirical
analogy
you did. The question will be, when did you do this analogy?
This week.
Oh, very recently.
Very recently, this week.
With all the networks?
With
all the GSM network.
That was when I discovered that I don't want to mention name, the CDMA provider I had, which I was always thinking, oh, it's there working. Even the one I had in my house that I used to call my family with, the signal, as I speak with you, down. Before leaving this morning, leaving the house, I tried one of them again. The signal is still down. Not because you don't have credit on them. Not because you have this 90-day disclaimer if you don't save it. Not because of that. But I don't just understand what is going. They're coming back to the GSM provider. I have virtually, in fact, not virtually, I have all of the lines. And not just myself alone. I did it with a colleague. So we placed the call. In fact, there was a time I had that gross with my wife because I was calling her for something very urgent, and the phone was ringing. I don't know if you've experienced it. The phone will be ringing, and the phone will be right before you, and it's not actually ringing. There are times it will even tell you that, sorry, the subscriber is switched off. There are times you say the subscriber is busy. Those are things we are experiencing recently. Before now, you may not have a signal to make a call. But now you even have the full bar signal because we now have sophisticated devices getting on their cell site, but you can't still get through to the voice gateway and make your calls. And nobody is saying anything. And if we even play light on because for me, I think, I'm sorry, I may be sounding a little bit harsh, but I think it's a way of making more money. Because, yes,
by the operators.
By the operators.
Wow.
Because that's what I'm saying. If I need to make a call to you, and I want to speak for 50 seconds, and I place the call, Chamberlain, how are you? How's channel? How's everything? And I end my call before 50 seconds without a drop. Then I've just paid just about 19 naira because the 60 seconds will make it 12 naira because virtually all of them are now on the 12 naira platform per minute. But if making my call on the 12th or the 10th seconds there's a drop, that will be surcharged. I place the call again. My conversation will not start from where I stopped.
But call drops don't happen all the time. I mean, ever so often, someone will say it depends on what time you call. It also depends on if you're calling at peak hours, if you're calling at off-peak hours. Does it happen all the time with you?
Not with me. You know, I just did an that's why I said empirical. I just did an random test. Just pick up this network, make it an on-net network, and try. Different period of it. Just this week. This is
you called at different periods.
Different period. Of course, I'm aware that you have more traffic during the peak period. You have less traffic during the off-peak period. But this keeps happening. And for me, because I tested in Lagos, I may not be able to talk of other states, but beyond even myself, from all the comments out on my Twitter handle, I say people are complaining because we have this call drop that keeps coming every now and then. And even beyond the voice call, look at the data, for example. You would expect that you have a smartphone data bundle, for example, that is supposed to last for 30 days. I don't know if you have ever seen a log of your usage from any of the providers, even after you place a request. Because
you tried and they didn't give you?
I don't want to mention the name. I sent...
Yeah, but if you pay for it, why not?
You won't get it.
No, if I'm talking about mentioning the names.
Mentioning the name?
You're using it, you're paying for it.
I can remember, and I know they check my name and they check it with the email now. I placed a mail of about 9 different emails asking and requesting for a data usage on Airtel. And I was trying to say, if you say I consume so and so, please, can I just have a log? If I have a log, I will tell you if actually I was using it at this time. So I'll know if really my phone was up or I traveled or the phone is in airplane mode and you are charging me. Because somehow you pay for some of these services and you are not getting...
Were you roaming the line?
I wasn't roaming. I was not roaming in any way. And of course, if you are roaming, I know you are going to pay more. I wasn't roaming. And if you're even using a data, you don't expect, your voice could roam easily, but your data don't most times. It's your voice that will do the roaming, not the data. I'm talking about data this time. Now, if I load, for example, a 6 gigabyte a plan, and on the 5th day, of course, when you do multimedia, voice and video, it consumes more of the bandwidth. But you are looking at a situation whereby you loaded on Monday, and you are out of service up until Friday, you try, it will tell you, sorry, disconnected, you couldn't connect. And on Sunday, when you got the connection, you are sent that your bandwidth is finished. Who used it? That's the question.
And you lodged complaints and this was not sorted out?
We can conduct an opinion poll about this and just ask, pick 100 Nigerians from different angles and just ask if what I'm saying is wrong. It's just in the open space.
Well, have you heard about, because some time ago, some of them did say, bear with us Nigerians, we're just working on improving our infrastructure, but we will get better with time. So is that tenable?
I was even surprised when I got to hear on the airwave that because of the bombing in, was it Damaturu or something, when the telecom infrastructure was being destroyed, that was why we have a number of congestion. Look, everybody will look for a way to hide your weakness or your weaknesses. And I think all of what we are saying here, we are not the first to use this technology. And as I speak with you, several other African countries, don't let's even get to the developed countries, they're already using the same thing we are using. But are we getting that service delivery? Go to Benin Republic, just a stone throw there, and see what you have there and compare with what we have in our country.
What about infrastructural challenge? Because they also complain about that here.
I wouldn't, I said it before, when we started that if you want to do business, you do a feasibility. You know what it will take for you to achieve ABC, meeting up your target and all that. They will have done all of that. Fine, you accept challenges, and that is the beauty about business. Growth is all about overcoming these challenges. But are we going to talk about a sector that has been in for about more than 10 years? We're not looking at something of a year or two, but we're looking at over a decade. And then the more they grow, we get new technologies. Formerly we had the 3G coming up, the HSPDA coming up. But the more these things are being brought to us, we pay more, but we get so little. We get so little. If you want to confirm that, try with all of the tablets you are holding now.
You know, I'm very interested in the kind of complaints that you've been able to lodge. Some would say that we spoke with the chairperson of the Consumer Protection Unit.
Association of Telecom Subscribers.
Yes, I think I was a subscribers group.
Yeah.
And he was saying that most times we don't push our case hard enough. We try to complain on the phone, and when it doesn't go through, we're very reluctant to go to their offices. Have you ever been to the office of any of the
I've only been to their shops, not the head office.
Yeah,
and if
but
I go to
shops,
there was a time I went to the shop around Ogba. They said, no, this issue will not be trashed here. Go to Igomu. Then I asked myself, I'm paying for a service. Then I'll have to also spend my entire day, money, to also pursue a case. We have better means of lodging these complaints. As a matter of fact, when I sent the first set of 4 emails, I got no response. But because I know a supervisor in there, and I called him, I said, look, pick up this case. What is going on with your guy? He said, oh, God, now so we see him more. And that is what is actually happening. What stops our provider from their portal? Of course, you have the customer care section of their portal, and then you just post, and then you get a response within seconds. It's just a matter of confirming with your telephone number or something.
Okay. All right. Thank you for coming on, Benjamin Shemala, Consultant Systems Engineer, focusing on the challenge facing that you're also going through with your telecom provider. Don't forget to keep your suggestions, your questions, your complaints coming through. We should be getting some answers. Some
commendations too, maybe.
Okay. If you've got them, we're back after this. Chinese again.
Announcing the launch of a Reinvent Media production, Nigeria the Good News, a collection of positive and uplifting Nigerian stories.